All right, so this is a suggestion via a donation. The name of the video is What They Just Discovered in Africa Shook the Entire World. Let's go and check it out.
Cradle of mankind, Africa plays a key role in the development of our species. Rich in culture and breathtaking landscapes, the second largest continent on Earth is always in the sights of historians, naturalists, and archaeologists.
Oh, what? Hey, listen. I'm absolutely here, but when you start showing Wakanda, all right, hopefully the video is going to be a little more realistic than that. Let's get it.
Today, we would like to show you which overwhelming treasures are really slumbering in Africa. Do you want to know what the inexplicable incident that took place in Zimbabwe in 1994 is all about? And why is the discovery of an ancient city shaking our conventional worldview? Then be sure to watch our video to the end. Don't forget to leave us a like and a subscription, and hit the bell. We would be delighted if you'd comment on our posts and share your thoughts and suggestions with us. And now, let's get started.
Let's get it.
Aerial School Incident. It is September 16, 1994, when the children near the town of Ruwa in Zimbabwe flock to the aerial school as they do every day. Were the visitors to the private school still thinking about the eerie reports that had been circulating 2 days earlier? Accordingly, numerous people had seen a strange, glistening fireball in the night sky. But at first, the school day didn't seem any different than any other. Before it was time for the first break, as the teachers retired for a meeting, 62 students ages 6 to 12 watched something quite incredible. Several silver spacecraft descending from the sky and landing in a nearby field. But that's not all. A creature dressed entirely in black then even walked up to the frightened students to send them a telepathic message. The bizarre figure warned the little ones to take better care of their home planet. Otherwise, humanity would perish along with the Earth. When the children told the teachers what they had just gone through, they had no choice but to send the students home immediately. They had no choice but to send the students home immediately. The question of what really caused the aerial school incident is still hotly debated to this day. Afterwards, the children were asked to describe the incident again and to make drawings of the strange creatures.
All right, so apparently there's a film. It's called The Aerial Phenomenon. They just kind of showed like a small section of it here. It just came out. Well, kind of. Right? Apparently, it's also on YouTube for purchase. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 100%. IMDb has it at 7.5. This actually may be a solid thing, right? It was I may want to see this one here, guys. Let's get it. Let's go.
And flying objects. And in fact, the reports and the pictures should coincide in their basic characteristics. However, some students stated they had not noticed the arrival of a horde of extraterrestrial visitors. While some experts believe the children were the victims of mass hysteria, others believe the aerial school incident encapsulates the most significant encounter of the third kind of the 1990s.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
Cheetah. The ruins of the city of Getty are the prime example of a forgotten place that opens the door to a bygone era for us. On the east coast of Kenya, around 5 kilometers from the sea, the inhabitants of the important trading hub were able to enjoy great prosperity. In addition, the ruins, made of coral limestone, impressively show us the breathtaking beauty of East African architecture. However, after the locals were ambushed by the Portuguese conquerors, Getty was to be temporarily abandoned in the early 16th century. After the last brief period of prosperity, the city was finally left to its own devices in the early 17th century. Archaeological investigations carried out from 1948 led to the rediscovery of a palace, several mosques, many houses, and a tomb. I was born a man. In 2015,
I mean, listen, guys, there are a lot of like ancient cities that go back 50, 20,000 years or so, right, in Africa. There's a lot of, there's just a lot of things that are just not spread around for the most part. But yeah, there's just, guys, research mainly West Africa specifically. There are a lot of these cities just dotted everywhere.
The list of
it's not new or really that strange that they found another one in Kenya.
Genus Homo was expanded by one species. Accordingly, the researchers succeeded in assigning the fossils discovered in the Rising Star Cave to the newly introduced Homo naledi. The age of the bones is estimated at 335,000 to 236,000 years. We now know that our extinct relative was only about 1.5 meters tall and weighed between 40 and 55 kilos. In addition, this species was characterized by a very small internal skull volume and body proportions reminiscent of those of small populations. Again, the long curved finger bones and broad thumbs indicate that Homo naledi was an excellent climber. In fact, the nature of the teeth even give us a direct insight into the original diet. The large, robust molars show that the Homo naledi either mainly fed on quite hard plants or swallowed a lot of sand and dust while eating softer plants. Impossible Rock. Halfway between Africa's east coast and Madagascar lies the island of Anjouan, a remote volcanic island that was formed by an eruption around 4 million years ago.
Bro, no
Due to its
spoilers.
fiery origin.
Listen, he's kind of delivering a couple of spoilers here, bro. Lord of the Rings. I'm supposed to be watching this movie over on the movie channel pretty soon, and yeah, no spoilers, bro.
The island should be made of volcanic basalt, but it isn't. Instead, the geologists repeatedly come across quartzite here, which, however, does not come from volcanoes. It is therefore completely unclear what the quartzite deposits are doing on the volcanic island. We can only speculate on this. One theory is based on the fact that the rocks separated when the Gondwana continent split up and then ended up in the sea basin. Then, when the volcano erupted and created the island of Anjouan, somehow the quartzite was brought back up and intertwined with the basalt of the newborn island. Skystone. Rain, snow, bright blue-colored stones whose chemical composition is different from anything known. Sometimes the strangest things really do fall from the sky. In 1990, in Sierra Leone, researcher Angelo Pittoni became aware of a strange artifact.
Guys, I'm sorry. My mind is consistently being blown by this video, guys. I have to now know what skystones are.
Believed to be of divine origin, according to local legend. Thus, such colorful formations would be mystical creatures that aroused the wrath of God and were then turned to stone and hurled to earth. A scientific analysis showed that the skystone consists of 77% oxygen, 20%.
Okay, guys, yeah. Skystones are wickedly expensive. All right? Wickedly expensive.
Carbon and lime, and a few other substances such as silicone. However, since this material's composition is clearly different from all terrestrial rocks, it is reasonable to conclude that the object is in fact not from this world, but from another planet. Ultimately, it may have arrived on Earth between 2,500 and 17,000 years ago. Bakoni. Surrounding the South African town of Mekadadorp are some fascinating vestiges of the past, the ruins of the ancient Bakoni tribe. To this day, the hills around the city are adorned with stone terraces, complexes, and streets that authentically show us that African agriculture was by no means as rudimentary as people long believed before the arrival of the Europeans. According to some experts, the Bakoni Ruins bear witness to the technological and agricultural innovations made by the indigenous tribe long before the colonial era. The traces of the ethnic group can be traced back to the early 16th century, but in fact, the Bakoni can look back on a much longer history. According to some theories, the age of the ruins is an incredible 200,000 years, dating back to the dawn of modern man. But we can't prove this with any certainty. To this day, numerous archaeologists are pursuing the goal.
I think recently there was a guy in like North Carolina or so, like his bloodline oddly could be traced back to like 175,000 years, something crazy like that.
Of fully deciphering the history of the Bakoni, and thus getting a little closer to our own beginnings. Like so many other ancient ruins, the Bakoni relics are shrouded in some exciting legends. Thus, some people are adamant that the stone walls and circles formed some kind of ancient electrical grid thousands of years ago. The people at that time succeeded in converting the resonance frequency of the Earth into a usable form of energy. Unfortunately, the Bakoni ruins were completely neglected by the government, which also caused their condition to deteriorate rapidly. In order to learn more about the true background of these ancient structures, professional investigations are urgently needed. Lost
That's a stretch,
City,
guys. Like the electricity aspect of that statement, that may be a stretch.
where the most
Personally.
advanced technologies of
My
our
own
time
opinion, obviously.
collide with ancient relics, the past comes alive once again. As early as the 1970s and 1980s, archaeologists unearthed the ruins of centuries-old buildings near Johannesburg. Although at the time, researchers thought it was no more than a loose cluster of villages, around 40 years later, detailed aerial photos revealed the true dimensions of the discovery. In
That's the beauty of LiDAR. Like, as our technology is just absolutely just exploding, right? We're able to now find a lot of these all over the globe, absolutely. Like old, deteriorated towns, right? Just based off of LiDAR itself. I'm sure we'll start to find more in the Amazon once, unfortunately, as they're tearing it down, right? We'll start to definitely find more, using LiDAR.
In fact, these are the remains of a massive site that slumbered in secret for 2 centuries. Like so many other settlements in the region, this city fell victim to a bloody civil war in the beginning of the 19th century. With the help of complex laser technology, the overgrown relics could finally be brought back to daylight. The analysis so far indicate that the lost city was built in the 15th century and covered an area of 10 by 2 kilometers. The recordings revealed between 750 and 850 dwellings, but the researchers cannot yet determine how many people once lived there. In the center of the village, there is an area almost 10,000 square meters, which according to some researchers is divided into so-called corrals, that is, cattle enclosures. If this interpretation is correct, 1,000 cattle would have found space here and testified to the prosperity of the former residents. Before the true background of the lost city is fully deciphered, however, patience is required. Further investigations will take at least 10 years. 200,000-year-old city. It's news whose confirmation would rock our entire worldview. 150 kilometers west of Mozambique's capital, Maputo, archaeologists have uncovered the complex ruin of a great stone city. Analysis of the erosion rate of the dolerite revealed that the metropolis was built between 160 and 200,000 years ago. For context, although the Egyptian pyramids and Mesoamerican structures are considered the most advanced structures of antiquity, they are no older than 6,000 years. Right. The Temple of Gantia.
Yeah, I think the Nubian the Nubian pyramids may be older than the ones in Egypt.
Yeah, which was created around 3600 BC, is currently the oldest building in the world. If the age dating of the African city, which is admittedly not uncontroversial, is correct, we would have to radically question everything we think we know about our species. Surrounded by high walls and equipped with circular structures, the metropolis had an intricate network of roads that connected the agricultural areas with each other. However, who built the city is uncertain, only that it must have been a highly developed civilization. The images that the residents immortalized in the hard rock walls show that they worshipped the sun. However, the fact that they apparently used ancient Egyptian symbols only raises more questions.
Right.
Ancient tools. Who does not know it?
But guys, I never trust carbon-dated stones, though, guys. So
one wrong turn and you find yourself in a pristine archaeological site housing ancient stone tools. In fact, we ultimately owe the sensational discovery made by Sonia Harmond and her team in Kenya to a wrong turn. After the experts realized that the Lumki site hides a large number of archaeological secrets, the researchers initiated a large-scale excavation. With success, a total of 130 artifacts were recovered, with an estimated age of an unbelievable 3.3 million years. The finds embody no less than the oldest known tools in history. Senegambian stone circles. Located in the east of the Gambia and in the north of Senegal, the more than 1,000 Senegambian stone circles stretch along a common line 350 kilometers long. research has shown that the structures were made between the 3rd century BC and the 16th century AD in order to bring the red-brown laterite rock, which sometimes weighs 7 tons, into the desired shape. Its creators used certain tools. In this point, the Senegambian stone circles differ from most other comparable structures, which are usually composed of unworked stones.
Okay, bro,
Exotic
age,
pets.
So no.
What did the inhabitants of Hierakonpolis do around 5,000 years ago to represent their social status? That's right, they got exotic pets like elephants or hippos. This was shown by the detailed examination of the so-called cemetery of the upper class. Not only people were laid to rest in the approximately 200 graves, but also their 4-legged companions. A look at the healed, broken bones shows that these were very likely not wild animals. The animals probably contracted these when they were captured. Fairy circles.
I mean, listen. A couple of cultures, used to bury, not anymore, like people with their favorite animals, right? Well, didn't the Vikings delete their horses and throw them into the graves? At least some people specifically.
The secret of the mysterious fairy circles has been revealed. This was announced by a team from the University of Göttingen after examining the circular bald spots in Nambia in detail. Accordingly, the theory based on the influence of termites could finally be shelved. Instead, we would be detailing here the result of natural self-organization. But first things first, equipped with special soil moisture sensors, the scientists recognize that the grasses in the fairy circles die off immediately after the rain falls, even though the rain should actually stimulate plant growth. An examination of the remarkably long but intact roots showed that the influence of insects can be ruled out. Rather, the conclusion is that the grasses perspire under the scorching heat of the Nambian desert and constantly lose moisture. As a result, the roots form a kind of soil moisture vacuum, which means they literally attract the cool water by allowing the grasses to form pattern landscape formations and even distribution results, with all the plants benefiting from the water resource provided by the bare patches.
Yeah, definitely 20 years ago, those were crop circles, guys. Right? You and I both know. Right. But listen, so the most impressive thing, at least in this video for me, was the aerial phenomenon, right? And the fact that I now found out that there's a whole new alien type documentary that I would love to encounter, and I will absolutely, as soon as I'm done with this, actually go watch that, guys. I think that's a mandatory thing, right? It feels very X-Files to me. I don't know if it's true or not. I just want to hear the story, to be honest. I just want to hear the story in depth. But yeah, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.